Well, hi, and welcome to my shop. I'm going to do something a little different here. I showed you a collection of tube shields, and I'm going to end up going through this box of tubes here a little bit, and I thought I better put it on film. I don't want to be picking through this box very often, and the reason I'm doing that is twofold. One is I need to know what's in this box, because ultimately I have to sort it, catalog it, or do something with it. And number two, I'm looking for a tube for tonight's Hangout on the Air, which is going to be on at 7 o'clock tonight, live. If you're not familiar with that's a Google thing called Hangouts On Air. And when I'm on tonight, I'll be on with Scotty TR. We'll be looking at an old 1920s radio we've been looking at for the last couple of weeks. So you can find it. It'll be under Jim's Radio Shop Live. And that's 7 o'clock this evening, Toronto time, or Eastern Standard Time, or Eastern Daylight Time. I'm not sure. I'm never sure of that. Toronto time, anyway. So let's take a look in this box. I'm going to raise the camera up so you can see down in it. Here, give me a second. That's the sound of the tripod legs going out there, in case you can hear that. There we go. Okay. Now the camera's up about the same height as my eyeballs. So, and there's the box of goodies. Now, you know, I can't be pulling these boxes out and shoving them back in because the boxes are so fragile, and the boxes themselves are valuable. So let's just take a look at what we can see here and maybe pull a few loose tubes out anyway. So what do we see? I see a 37, a 36, 78. So already I have an idea of the vintage of this stuff. This is 1930s type tubes, I believe. 30, 55S, never heard of that. 1V, never heard of that. Of course, there's lots of tubes. I'm not going to try to suggest that I somehow have a great, fantastic knowledge of this stuff. You know, if you don't know anything, then maybe it appears that way, but believe me, there's a ton of stuff to know about these guys here. So, hey, look at that, another tube shield. A little different than all the rest I was showing earlier in the other video. That's obviously for big dimension tube. So the tube I'm looking for is actually a vintage earlier than these. Oh, look, here's some pretty old one. Now, first of all, you know you got an old tube when you look at the base and you don't see the center plastic black post with the key on it, like this one. Here you see the central post on it. You know, that's called an octal. It's only got 4 pins, but it has the capability of 8 pins. And this one, these ones that don't have that centerpiece, see the shape of the pins there are designed in a pattern. You can only put it in one way when you put it in the radio. And these guys are just known as pre-octal before this came out. Once this came out, it stole the show over this kind of tube. So these are all well, not all of them, obviously. Most of them are pre-octal, but it's very easy to look and see. If you got a tube with this kind of pin arrangement, you've got something quite old. Now see the shape of that glass globe on it. Have a look at this one. Okay, now this is really going back here. Look at this. It says, OK, T. Eaton Company. That's a Canadian retailer. It was the biggest retailer for decades and decades and decades. The T. Eaton Company, 1934, it says right there. Guarantee expires. So these tubes were still so unreliable that to sell them, they had to make a promise that they would take them back if they failed early, or they would provide some good guarantee for it. This is called a Radiotron RVC247. What the heck is that? RVC. I don't see any other label on it. Pretty cool, eh? The globe is, it really looks like a light bulb. And of course that's where the globe technology came from. People already knew how to make light bulbs. In fact, I'm sure if you've read any history on tubes, you know it was fiddling around with light bulbs that led to the discovery of it. Here's another one. Look at this one. Another glass globe here. And I'm very hesitant to clean these. I'm going to pull some tubes out here. They're going to be pretty dirty. They're going to stay dirty because the act of cleaning them will take off the any information that's on them. And there's no putting it back. Of course, there's not that many tubes from back in this era, so you could actually look inside here and you could figure out what this is. I'm pretty sure, if you really wanted to. Looks like the label's right there, but it's kind of worn off. Somebody's penned in 46 question mark, so they're wondering if that's a 46. There's another one down here, loose one, not so old. 6K6. Okay, there's nothing particularly old about that. Wow. Yeah, it's old. It's just not as old as all these. So I'm starting to see the next layer down. Whoops. There's another layer down in this box, and that's what I'm interested in, whether it's also a layer back in time. And I really want to try to find a, no. I'm looking for an 01A, which could be a 201A. That looks pretty new, doesn't it? Doesn't look terrible. Well, once again, yeah, it's all relative. None of this is very new. So see how the boxes are in such bad shape? I don't want to fold them or anything. There's a tube in there. It's a 240, it says 247 on it. 2 is the manufacturer, and the 47 is the tube number. Made in Canada by the Canadian Marconi Company. Well, I don't see any that are actually the vintage I'm looking for in here. Let me go get one of these older tubes for a sec here. Because I do have one. Here it is. I assume that's the correct box. Hard to tell. This is really what I'm looking for. Now, this one's defective, and that's why I'm looking for another one. So it says Radiotron UX201A. So it's actually an 01A is the tube type, and the 2 is the manufacturer, which I thought was Westinghouse. Yeah, you know, the box says Westinghouse on it. Sealed and tested at the factory for your protection and convenience. Oh, there's the fine print. Let's read the fine print here. Let me put that tube down. I'm suspicious, because that fine print is so fine I can't read it. You can hardly see it. Let's read it here. The Canadian Westinghouse Company guarantees this radio tube to be free from defects in material and workmanship, should such defects become apparent under normal use of the tube in a radio receiving set within 90 days from the date of purchase. The dealer from who it was purchased will affect the something or other replacement. I can't actually read the word there. Okay, it wasn't that strange a thing at all, was it? No. But anyway, that was a big deal back then, I guess. Oh, let's not lose the tube. Now, if you take a look at this tube, you see the shape. The whole thing is mirrored from the inside, and 4 pins. The 2 of these pins are a little fatter than the other 2. 2 fat ones are the heater, which you can kind of make some sense, right? You're going to put a little bit of current into it. You need bigger pins, but believe me, these would be just fine. And that forms the key, so you can only put the tube in one way. The other 2 pins are grid and plate. And there is no cathode in these tubes. And it has this locking pin here. Let's see if I can get that on camera. There it is. So it goes into the socket and turns and locks in. So this is the 2 I'm looking for. me put this over here very carefully. I'm very nervous, even fiddling with this stuff. I don't own these, by the way. This is part of the shop that I work in 1 day a week, and I put up my hand and said I'd be happy to go through all these unsorted tubes. Yeah. So, wow. Here's a, looks like this one says W230. W230 detector and amplifier. Oh, look, there's a price on it. $60. I think it's underpriced. Oh yeah, see, that's an old one. There's the 4 pins. There's the shape. There's a piece of cat fur on it there somehow. And okay, the label's often on the base here, but there's nothing on the base at all. Oh, there we are. Let's see if it's on there. Licensed. No, that doesn't indicate the tube type. So, W230. Well, we'll put that back. How can it be an amplifier and detector when it's only got 4 pins? The heart of your radio. Yeah, I guess the detector kind of is that in a way. Well, that was close, but not quite what we're looking for. So let me put this one. I don't want to mix this stuff up at all. I'll just put it over here with some others that I've pulled out. Wow, okay. There's 6F6. When I look down at the bottom of this box, the tubes that are in there are smaller diameter, and they look even more modern, in fact. 25Z12 SL7, 25Z5. I think these are even newer. Oh, UX226, that's really close to what I'm looking for. You know, for all I know, this could even work in the, I'm going to put that one aside. And maybe that'll be the tube we can use. V1, or 1V. What's a 1V? I don't know, but I'm not going to take it out of the tube. Maybe there's a substitute I can... Oops, there's one falling out of the box. Again, it's not a really old tube. It's not the vintage I'm looking for. I'm looking for 1920s tubes. I didn't really say that, did I? That's really what I'm doing. Here, 6BQ6. Yeah, these are not... 8Z. What is that? An 8Z. No. 6W4. I think that's probably a rectifier tube. Well, here's an older one here. Not really. I'm going to put the name on the box. 76. There it is up on the top. But I can see down in this area now. I don't think I'm going to find what I'm looking for. Let's pull this big one out of here and look under there. 6AX5, 6AU5. No, I don't see that it's getting older at all. In fact, this little box here, this looks a little older. Who's this guy? W53. Yikes. Yikes. I don't know. I think any tube with a W in front might be worth it. Might be very, very rare. Which one's this now? Yeah, see, this box is sealed, closed. I can't get the tube out without disrupting the box. I'm not about to do that. But we don't know what the tube is. It has a grid cap on it, so it's not the kind of tube I'm looking for. Okay, it's just not old enough. 12, SJ7, 6H6. These are not terribly old tubes. Not the vintage I'm looking for. little disappointed here. It's really no, it's got the plastic key in it, so it's again. And down below 6T8, 6T8, 6T8. Isn't that that's an FM tube, isn't it? That doesn't make sense. 6AG7. Well, they may have reused tube designations or something. 6T8 is a modern miniature tube. Okay. I think I'm out of luck here. I think I'm out of luck, which is really too bad. Other than that one tube I seem to have found. Yeah. Well, it's interesting looking in these old boxes, that's for sure. No, I just don't see it. I wonder if there's another box with old, very old tubes in it. I better go take a look. Look at that, eh? I should check this out too. W230. What is that? Well, that's the hunt, and I won't make you watch me put all this stuff back now. So, but I think I might find another box. Better go check. Thanks for watching.